Welcome back to another episode of my podcast, the 4 a.m. Talks. I'm super excited for today's episode because it's really important. This episode is really important for me and for you as well, the listeners that you are, listening to my episodes in podcasts and other audio streams, or you're watching it on YouTube. This is going to be super exciting and fascinating experience for you as well. So this brings down to revealing the topic for today. The topic for today is excuses. So everybody have given some sort of excuses in their life. But the problem with us is we don't try to figure out why are we giving excuses. It's a key thing that you need to understand. You know where it starts? It starts from the childhood. Your teacher asks for a homework. Have you done your homework? And you would give an excuse, or most of you would give an excuse. There are people who are really focused at the start, but the majority. I am speaking to the majority. So you would say, I did the homework, but I forgot to bring the notes. Some would say that they weren't feeling well, so they couldn't do that. Few would ridiculously say that they had that they didn't have the sharpener, which they had to write it on the pencil and they couldn't do it. So I mean, you gotta at that moment suddenly telling a lie, giving an excuse is not for everyone. Few may make up really well. They gotta make their face so pathetic that even the teacher you know it I mean, I'm so sorry, but this happened to everyone. And the problem with us is it starts from that. And if we allow that habit to cultivate, what happens to our life? Unfortunately, that has been the most destructive. I would call it as a self destruction. It starts from the childhood, and if you don't if you allow it to develop it, it's going to cripple you, and it's going to make sure that you go through the self destruction process, because every time giving an excuse is not a good thing. I can understand the things which you're not interested in. I understand that because you're not fully committed to that. But the most important thing, your dream, you can't give an excuse. The most important work that you need to do right now, you can't give an excuse, because these are the most important things, and you can't say that you cannot give an excuse for that. I mean, the higher management may agree, but you know for yourself that you didn't work. You're giving some sort of an excuse that is not acceptable. So why am I telling you this? I will give you an example where I will be telling you a story now. Imagine John Carpenter. He wanted to become a tennis player. So he goes and enrolls himself to the training camp, and his training starts. You know what happens? The first day he comes late. The coach asks him, "Why are you late?" He says, there was some traffic jam and he couldn't make it. All right, okay, fine. First time it's excused, fine. Next day, he's asking him. The coach asks, "Where's your racket?" And he says, "I forgot." The third day, if he forgets to bring, the his shoes, an extra shoe. These are the things. See, he keeps giving excuses. And do you think John Carpenter will go out and become the greatest, or even make it? the probability is very less that he's going to make it. He is not even going to make it. Few people may even bet on John Carpenter that he's not going to make it because the factor of excuses are the most dangerous thing. It is the most dangerous thing, especially when you're chasing your dreams. It is unacceptable. Remember that you shouldn't confuse between excuses and things which are not under your control. Let's say, for example, you wanted to go out for running, you wanted to sprint. Let's say, you wanted to sleep and you didn't want to run. That's an excuse, because you committed yourself to go out for a sprint in the morning. But imagine there's a thunderstorm where no one can go out. It's not under your control. It's nature. Nature is not under your control. So you need to understand that I've seen people who confuse these two things. This happened in real life. This really happened in real life, that I'm going to tell you. These are the things that is happening. So you need to understand that excuses cannot be excusable. Excuse cannot be it is a factor which will put someone down, and your growth will be, you will fall back exponentially. It is one of the key components. And what you do, the main core thing of excuse is procrastination. Imagine you wanted to submit your project in 7 days, and it takes 6 days to work and 1 day to review. Imagine you start your work on the day of submitting your project. What happens? Or the day before submitting your project. What happens? You have procrastinated it, and at the end, if the project manager is asking you for the update, what will you tell? You'll give an excuse. Just think about it. Or any situation in life, if you're taking the other way around, your life will become beautiful. But if you're thinking the normal way, and if you're just thinking that, I'll just give an excuse, I know how to convince him. See, these are the things that is nonsense. You cannot do it. Once or twice, it's fine. But the third time, people may not tolerate that. You may be asked to leave the organization. It will happen. Do not give that excuse. I'm working in a 9-to-5 job, and I'm doing this. This is my passion project that I'm doing. This is what I really wanted to do, and I'm doing it. And the family is dependent on me for the most part. So I can't just tell to myself that, okay, so I'll not be able to do it. Who knows? You have to ask yourself, in this tough situation, can I do it in this way? Can I try to strategize and make use of the free time that I'm having and shoot these episodes? And the other way, you write it down, the things that you wanted to tell to the audience. So this is how we do it. I can't just give an excuse saying that, okay, I am committed to the work that I'm doing, that 9-to-5 job, and no, it's not going to happen. You have to, you commit to yourself saying that, whatever happens, I'm on track. I wanted to achieve my dream, and for that, I can't give any excuses. It is out of my system. This is what it is. You need to narrow it down. For that, you need to cut few things in your life. Distraction always plays an important role for the excuses. If you're distracted by some show, by some comedy show, the most important work that needs to be done in that 1 hour is gone because you're getting distracted. Or your phone, your cell phone. You can, look at things. You can take out your cell phone and, do some work. That is not distraction. But if you're, going out to Facebook, Instagram, and if you're just scrolling the feeds and looking at some sort of comedy videos, it's not going to help you. So you need to understand that the most important thing is to not give excuses. So if you think in that way, and if you look at things, I'll ask you a question. So I've told you about John Carpenter's story. Imagine if John Carpenter goes down where nobody is there and sits and reflects on why he's not getting better. He would immediately reflect on the excuses that he made, and he understands that the root problem is giving excuses. But why is he giving excuses? He's not focused. He's not managing his time properly. He's not looking into the perspective of being now. Mentality is not there. He's always lost. That is not going to happen. If you're forgetting things, that is what is happening. You're not in that present moment. He forgets his racket, he forgets his water bottle, his shoes. So, if he keeps forgetting, the tennis world will forget John Carpenter. It's as simple as that. So, you need to understand that, excuses. He understands that I shouldn't be giving excuses to the coach next time or to anyone, and he starts understanding what are the things that he has not done properly, and he analyzes it, gets back on track, and he's never giving an excuse, and he's going after his dream. Now John Carpenter will become, or the probability of John Carpenter becoming one of the greatest or the greatest tennis player will be so high that he's not going to miss out. He's not going to miss out because he is understanding and is learning from the mistakes. So coming back to you, from your childhood you're developing this mentality called excuses. Few have figured out very early in their life and they're never giving the excuses, but for the majority it's the other way around. They haven't figured it out yet. So what are you waiting for? Ask yourself, what are the excuses that I've given? And try to understand that you need to correct yourself. Take some decisions that will cut out the distractions. So these are the things that you need to do. Try to grab a sheet of paper and write this down, and try to cut out all those distractions and everything that I've talked about, and see how your life changes. So this is the most important thing. Excuse is not a good thing. You know that. That's the hardest part. You know that it's not a good thing, but you have to give some sort of excuses because you have not done your work. It could be due to procrastination, it could be due to because you're too lazy, it could be because you're distracted. So many factors. I've just talked about 2 to 3, but it could be number of factors that is affecting you. It depends on you and what sort of situation that you are in. So try to understand that and take action. Taking actions will actually make you a better person. All the things will get aligned, and you will have a new you'll have that energy to go forward, to get into that dream that you really wanted to. So try to understand this, reflect, and you know, eventually, make you wanted to become a better person, these are the things that you need to, figure it out and move forward. So, excuse is not excusable by any means for you from now on, and I know that you're not going to give any sort of excuses. Remember, if you're trying to give any excuses, remember this particular episode that you have watched, and please understand that you do not give excuses for the most part, and please do not confuse between the excuses and the things which you are not in control of. Take this and, reflect back and learn and grow. With that being said, have a wonderful weekend, everyone. I'll see you in the next episode. See you guys. Bye.